So here we are in part 2. I finished all the prep work of this blade, so it's completely done. Right after this little intro, we're going to be going right into the time-lapse footage of me hand sanding this blade. And then we're going to be going into how I did the surface grinding to get all the lines trued up on the flat face, which also corrects any mistakes that are on the plunge line and the top of the primary bevel. So here's a little close-up of the blade. Try and get it as focused as we can. And then the other side. So this is kind of like what you're shooting for in a hand sanded finish. So we're going to be cutting over to do the time lapse and the surface plate now. So I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, so what you see me doing here is I'm trying to clean up the plunge line, the grind right here. The easiest way I found to do this is to get a nice clean edge on your sandpaper. This is another reason why I've cleaned off this edge of the file right here. What you're going to be doing is you're going to be going forward and then just kind of flicking up with it. A lot. It's going to take a while. But that's going to make it so you have that hand sanded finish going all the way up and off of that edge. So it just takes a little time, but you just keep working with it. So I'll go back to the time lapse now, but I'm just kind of working it right on that edge, pushing and then kind of just lifting up and off. Not trying to go at a weird angle, just straight up and off of it. And that's just going to transfer that over for us. So keep going with the time lapse. What you can also do, if that little plunge line is being a pain in the butt and not wanting to get hand sanded, get another clean edge, some fresh WD-40 on there, and your paper. It really extends the life of the paper. But you can just run kind of along it. So I'm going diagonal and I'm pushing and then kind of going to the side. So I'm just going, kissing off of it, and then just going around. We're almost there. You just got to work the sandpaper in there as best you can. Takes a long time, but it's necessary. If you leave that not hand sanded, it's gonna look weird. Yeah, we just about got it there. So I've taken out the large scratches just by kind of running sideways with it. Now I'm gonna continue flicking upwards with it, and that's gonna help get that grain the right way. You can also pull down and through with it. Whichever way works best for you. You just gotta make sure to get the sandpaper in there. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to mess up the tip of your plunge line and make it higher than the rest of the grind. You just want to be mindful of that. And that's all about just kind of changing the angle and keeping it flat or to the side. Like I have my blade on, I guess you could say, the left side. So I want to make sure that if I'm going to change the angle, it's more towards the left, not towards the right, because that's going to ride up on the flat of the grind and mess it up. Back to the time lapse. So the next step of the hand sanding process, we're going to be using this granite surface plate, which is really flat to like 0.0001 inches or something crazy. So what I'm doing is I'm just taking a paper towel with some water on it, and I'm just going to get the surface of this wet. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow the sandpaper sheet to stick to it a little bit better. It doesn't have to be drenched, but you just want an even coat of water on there. So this is a full sheet of Rhino Wet 220 grit paper. I'm just going to lay that flat. And why don't I get this wet first? Just dunking it into the tank of water. I don't always stick it into the water, but it helps at times. Alright, so we're going to get our blade now. What we're going to be doing, once I clean this off because it's grody, is we're going to be truing up this flat face. It's going to be polishing the area around the washers. It's also going to crisp up these lines between the swedge and the flat and the main bevel and the flat on both sides. So we're just going to be laying this on top, dry our hands off a bit, and just work it back and forth. Let me flip this around so it's easier to hold. We're going back and forth this way with it. That way the grain of those lines are going to be following the same lines that we put on these flats. So you just got to find an area that's easy to hold and just work back and forth. This is going to get it nice and flat. You don't want to stub your fingers like that. Mess up your finish a bit. But I usually count to like 50. And that gets me pretty close. Alright, so let's check what we have. Make sure you lift straight up and off of the plate, because if you don't, you're going to leave little scratches on the sides that are running the wrong direction, which is what we're trying to avoid. So it looks like it needs a little more work in this area up at the top. You want to make sure you're keeping consistent pressure straight down, because if you don't, you're going to end up with what that was right there. This area is polished, that's polished, but up at the top near the tang is a little off. So I'll just keep working that. You could also do this a little quicker on the flat platen of your belt sander, but I find that with mine it doesn't get it as flat as I would like, which is why I do a lot of truing up on the hand sanding. But if you have a brand new platen on like a KMG or something, you should be fine. Give another look, straight up with it. Alright, so that's looking a little better right there. Still needs a little work, but back here is good. So I'm just going to apply a little more pressure up there, and we should be good. I'm applying a good deal of pressure straight down, especially when I'm nearing the end, like now. That's going to get those scratches very consistent. Give that a look. Making sure to wipe on a clean paper towel. A little bit of water on it. And that's exactly what we're looking for. Nice and consistent. Now we'll flip to the other side, and it's going to be the same process, so I'll just keep going with that. Alright, so here we are again. We're going to be prepping these blades for an etch. The blades that I have in front of me, two of them are, these ones, are Hitachi White number 2, which is a Japanese blade steel. These are a Sanmai, so it's got a core steel of the Hitachi, which is just basically a very pure carbon steel similar to 1095. And then this one is the one we've been hand sanding this whole time, which is the stainless boomerang Damascus on the outer shell, and then the inner core is the CTS XHP. So we're just going to clean these up now. So right here I just have some acetone. Get that top off. Then I also have these giant cotton swabs. They're amazing. There's, what, 325 of them, all different sizes. I like to use the really big ones to clean up blades. The small ones are good for like oiling handles and whatnot. But you just twirl it in there a bit. And then we're going to clean them up. I'm wearing gloves right now just because you don't want acetone to be soaking into your skin, and then also so I don't leave fingerprints all over the blade. We're going to clean these real well, just to remove any oil or dirt or like that, all the grime that's on there. We're just going to clean that off. All the crap that's on there. The cleaner we make the blades, the better the etch is going to come out, which is key. So when they're done, I'm going to place them on that clean paper towel. Making sure to wipe really thoroughly. I'm wiping in the direction of the hand sanding that we did. I don't know if there's any actual like merit to that, but it's just something that I like to do. We're going to clean all the sides, down the blade, the spine, everything. Get some more acetone on there. One thing about acetone is it evaporates really fast. So you got to make sure to keep dipping the brush or whatever you're using, or paper towel, whatever it may be. If you don't end up getting out all of the oils from the blade, you may end up with a spot on your knife that's like a little bit lighter in the etch, or it'll be a line on there, just like a little bit of a discoloration. You'll definitely notice it because it'll be nice and consistent on the whole blade, except for that one little spot, and you'll be kicking yourself for not cleaning well enough. So we can really just gob this acetone on there because it'll just evaporate right off, so we don't have to worry about using too much. And by the ends of it, you notice how I'm holding the sides, so I can make sure to clean the flat faces of the blades the most. Alright, so those are cleaned up enough. Rest them there. So now we're going to be moving over to the tank of ferric chloride that I have, and we're actually going to be etching these blades. So that completes part 2 of the hand sanding tutorial. Let us know if you have any comments or questions about the process, if you want me to make another video with more details about the hand sanding process. Also, let us know whether or not you like the video quality of this part 2, which is filmed on an iPhone 6, versus part 1, which is filmed on this Sony camera. Let me know about the audio quality. In the future, I'll be using whichever camera is better. I find that this one is pretty good for wide angle shots. This is good for detail. So just letting us know what you think. For next week's video, I'm actually going to be etching those blades in the ferric chloride tank. And I'm going to be showing you how to clean those up, how to prepare a Damascus and a Sanmai blade. So thanks for your time.